Hey everyone! I finally got Dice Throne Outcasts. It was supposed to arrive in Halloween. It's late, obviously, but I guess we're having a nightmare before Christmas. So I got the new stuff. I didn't get all of the minis and all that other stuff because I just don't have the space, nor do I think they actually add anything to the game for me. But it does come in this very, very nice little carrying case. It's not like the half battle chest. This is a different design. I think I actually like this design better. But we have a pale lady that's a werewolf, which I thought was a ghost or a vampire, the headless horseman, Ravenous, and the necromancer. This art is a little weird for this because, I'll just show you. Like, that makes sense. And I guess that kind of makes sense? I don't know, it feels kind of off. Another thing that was kind of neat was this little Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Which, it is the poem The Raven. I'm not exactly sure what everything represents. I think that's the Raven. We have the Telltale Heart. I remember there was a story about a man on a wall and a black cat. The Pit and the Pendulum. Of course, Edgar Allan Poe. And then the Ravenous. This is magnetic. It has this cardboard little lip thing that locks into the side right here. So that's kind of neat. But it's just the Raven. And it tells you that, I don't know, it's inspired by it. As far as our characters, our new color coordination, the pink, or the pale woman is pink, the headless horseman is purple, the Ravenous is this greenish blue, and then the necromancer, he's green. We have our rulebook, which is the exact same rulebook from, well, not Marvel, but the original Dice Throne. I think this is the 2.0 version, or 2.43. But same, nothing special. We had all our cardboard tokens and stuff put on the side here. I have already taken everything and packed it in, but I have photos showing everything. I also got the promo cards, which I will be showing a close-up of. As a bonus, I have this Dice Throne Adventures Unchained. This adds a new boss to Dice Throne Adventures. Hence why it's packaged not so great. It is designed, they said, to be incorporated into Dice Throne Adventures, so I'll get to that when I do. The Pale Lady. This mechanic is something that we've seen before with the other characters. I don't really know how strong she is, mainly because every time it's one of these type of dual board characters, they got some odd mechanics. And it's usually because they want to do some type of power scaling. This is the first dual board character besides the Phoenix I've seen that flips around a lot. And it has to do with her gimmick about moon tokens. She can only have a maximum of 3 moon tokens, and when she gets that, she flips her board and starts taking away moon tokens. A lot of her abilities and gimmicks are her maintaining the timing for how she does her werewolf stuff. The art on her, I actually do like this art. It's kind of cute and freaky at the same time. Overall, it's kind of a neat ability, but I haven't really gotten into fully figuring out her playstyle. It really just comes down to the timing of the moon, and usually when you do the upgrades. Her deck is really odd too. She has no upgrade cards, obviously, because she flips her board all the time. So she has a lot of manipulative things that change things and work in her favor. It's just a timing thing that I'm not getting down fully, I guess. Even though she is a complexity level 3 character. But the dice, we got claws, moons, and werewolf stuff. Her abilities, such as the Moon Shard, stack limit 3. I did find it odd that they didn't give you 3 circular tokens, they just broke up a circle moon token. It is also nice that they're kind of immune to everything. Bleed, we know that effect. Prey is the new effect that she has, and it's just adding bonus damage. So, it's kind of a neat system, so I don't know. I don't think she's super good or super bad. Her ultimate cards from the promo pack just are, small buffs. I don't think it's super special. But she's kind of a neat character, but again, it is a gimmick that we have seen before, so nothing really super new. She's just, I think, better at timing those triggers. I really didn't like this character, mainly because of his gimmick with the haunted head. And it's mainly just, it's kind of like Thor's hammer. I know I've gotten flack that I didn't like Thor, and I don't think Thor is very good. For some reason, I can't play Thor properly. I don't know what it is. I suck with Thor. And this mechanic is very similar to that. Things to remember, too, is like how the Dreadful and the haunted head work exactly when you place them on. You got to remember the timing of putting it on or taking off when they trigger. But the Terrorize thing is just, I don't know. I don't think it's that great. The Grim Pursuit is, it's really iffy. The fact that you can only do it once a turn. To get an extra attempt during your offensive roll phase, okay. After attacking, roll 5 dice for horseshoes. I mean, you got a third chance to get 5 horseshoes to get 5 extra damage. That's really it. His complexity level is a 4. I don't think he's complex. I just think his timing, again, this is a timing thing. I just don't think it works well for me. It's not my... Ravenous is an interesting character. Again, it is another mechanic of I'm putting something on you to do stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head what is the closest to that ability right now. But she has a really odd lifesteal mechanic, and the token Nevermore, this giant raven, and I find it hilarious that this giant raven has so many turns on it when it can only take a maximum of 3. But it is what it is. But the Ravenous' gimmick is mainly using Nevermore the Raven to sit there and basically steal health, but with the weird mechanic of it has to land back on the Ravenous to give her the health. So it's kind of like, you know, I guess a mother bird feeding her chicks scraps of meat. And she is one of the few characters I've actually seen that's not a boss with the actual hex effect, which kind of neat. Her die rolls, you know, claws, wings, and the Raven Eye. But Nevermore is really her big gimmick. And Nevermore's funny thing is, like, on a roll of 6, Nevermore loses all that health to take back to the Raven. It's a really weird ability. Someone told me that it was kind of slow when they were using her, and I was just like, no, you won because you took health from me and re-healed yourself. I think the Ravenous is pretty good. I thought her complexity level was a little bit higher, but it's 3. And she doesn't have a lot of utility except the... Last up, we have the Necromancer. The Necromancer basically summons corpses, does the whole minion thing, very similar to the Gnome. It's an odd playstyle, but they are companions, so you can't remove the tokens. But he has a really unique ability with there's a card that he gets, and it's not really a card, it just turns off his abilities. The plastic card goes over one of your combat trigger attacks, and it's pretty much all of them, because that's all the Necromancer really has, except his defense. And in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see a hand with a plus value on it. This plus value is really important because you're going to use that to gain these necro points that you keep track on your tombstone. And you're going to spend those points to summon skeletal warriors, skeletal mages, and bone golems. And these guys are basically just damage modifiers, and you can use them to trigger some other card effects like blowing up and doing things. The Necromancer plays really wonky, and it kind of feels bad. And I say that when you turn off an ability that you got the roll for. I don't really think he's great, but he's also not terrible. His complexity rating is, I believe, a 6. And that might be the other reason. He might be just a little harder to play than I thought. But his ability is, like I said, it's stacking and messing with minions, but at the cost of you turning off some of your abilities. And that's really just a luck timing thing, I suppose. There is a lot of mitigation and rerolls and dice thrown that you can set things into your favor. And his abilities are pretty good. It's just, again, janky. For everyone that's familiar with Dice Thrown Adventures, this is the Key Witch. Dice Throne Adventures is a campaign system for Dice Throne, so you don't have to actually fight each other or do the team stuff. Versus, you just go after a big bad. There are 4 bosses, 4 levels, or 8 levels, but 4 things to clear with the realms. One of the fun things in Dice Throne Adventures is you can actually play the bosses if you want to. They're pretty interesting. And this was just a little mini expansion to add some more variety. So with the Key Witch, Dice Throne Unchained, an expansion adds a new boss, new minions, new loot cards, and even new game modes for Dice Throne Adventures. That's actually the part that is really interesting, because Dice Throne Adventures does take a long time. It is an 8-campaign game. That's a little rough for groups that are casual. And we've ran it twice, and it just runs a little long, and we're 50-50 on it. I like it, other people don't. In this little feature box, choose any dice hero you own. Explore randomly generated worlds. Battle minions and powerful bosses. Earn rewards and loot. Permanently upgrade your hero. Defeat a new boss, the Vault Witch. Contains 1 boss board, 40 boss cards, 2 boss leaflets, 3 witch key cards, 1 scenario card, 3 one-shot maps, 37 loot cards, 12 minion cards, 1 rule insert, 42 card sleeves, and a new one-shot loot table. Open straight up like that. So here's our new one-shot loot. Flat out just says it. Just alternate on the back. We have our reference card for the Vault Witch and how she works. And the Vault system. So the Vault Witch is kind of a neat idea. She has this gimmick where you're looking for the vault keys. And if you use the key and you lose to her, you lose the key. So you have 3 chances to fight her if you're playing with the normal Dice Throne Adventure system. It's kind of an interesting concept because if you have extra keys, you can trade them in for loot. I was like, that seems kind of neat. But this was the thing that I actually cared about with this expansion. These are just mini little dungeon runs. And if you're familiar with Dice Throne Adventures, you know that you place tiles, do random generate stuff, yada yada yada. This is just straight across kind of a pathing system where you pick left, right, and you just get whatever you want. So we have a choice right off the bat to go to the, well, I guess right from that perspective, to fight a level 2 boss, or you can fight a level 1 boss. But the 2 level 2s will lead to a level 1 treasure, or 2 level 1s will lead to level 3. So it's kind of a risk-reward of what you want. These are double-sided, which I thought was kind of nice, because it adds a little bit more variety. But, you know, we have the Valley of Bones, we got Smog's Dungeon, apparently, or Treasure Room, the Depths, because everyone has to have the Depths, a Twisted Forest of Trees, pretty standard for horror trips, of course a Catacomb, God, this seems like Clank all of a sudden, and then some type of terrible burial value of the Witch King. Here's our Dice Throne Adventures rulebook. Pretty much explains everything on it. It's pretty straightforward, nothing really special, but the little one-shot adventure, that's what this is called. These little mini campaigns are one-shot adventures. And then I can't remember if Dice Throne Adventures had this, and this might have been the weird thing, but in this variant, it says that you can leave all your upgrades out while you're running through the dungeon. And I don't know if that's updated to make the game faster and more convenient, or I've been playing Dice Throne Adventures wrong, which might be the fact that that's why it's hard. But the rewards go straight in your hand, not in your deck. I thought that was kind of neat. The Vault Witch herself, who is like Discount Ronnie. I really like the Hellraiser chain stuff. I don't know, there's something about chains that, I don't know, maybe it's Hellraiser. Well, the Vault Witch's abilities, I do like this little chain border. Again, I think I just might like the way chains look because of Hellraiser. But overall, she's pretty straightforward with a lot of her stuff. She does do some mind control that makes you attack your other players. So that's a little interesting. these sleeves. Now, I've never bought the Dice Throne sleeves. I kind of don't like these sleeves. And I don't know if these are just something printed on, because that's usually the reason I don't like them. Because they peel. No, these are actually... This is not a sticker. Huh. Alright. Well, I eat my words on that. The quality of the sleeves are actually really good. Because usually, most people just kind of put a sticker over a sleeve and then you shuffle and they start peeling. I had that problem with Slay the Spire. So, usually proprietary sleeves aren't made very well. This actually is done pretty well. I'm not going to use them because it's going to mess up my symmetry, because I've been using GameGenix for everything. We have the Vault Witch's deck of cards. And again, I imagine you can play with the Vault Witch if you want to use her and play around with her. She seems like a neat character. As far as our new rewards, because this was the Kickstarter version, or GameFound, I never remember which is which anymore, some of the stuff comes foiled. A lot of this has some really odd jank of you paying health, and it seems to want you to know that. That's the way things are going to go. But these rewards are pretty neat. I thought they were actually kind of cool. And then here's the witch keys, which you have 3 of. Kind of surprised they didn't actually try to make these a little bit more special, but I guess because they're randomly, you don't want to make it a giveaway. We have our new enemy types. And this is what Dice Throne Adventure uses to determine how they behave, their difficulty, when you fight them in the dungeon. Obviously, these are foiled because they're special. But the Pharaoh, the Ashen King, Bloodseeker have details like First Strike, which tells you they get to attack you first, what they're trying to do for their objectives, and what they're going to try to pull off. But we have some really just a neat variety of things, but it's always the high-level stuff, and the foiling is good. Linen finish, very nice cards. I don't know if there is a sleeve size for these. It's like a postcard. But the Plague Bearer, Corrupted Ghoul, the Butcher I thought was funny, Dark Scepter, Spectre, Hermit, Fell Summoner, Carrion Golem, Iron Maiden, and then we have the Boss Battle card, which just determines how the boss setup is. There's nothing else in here, and it's not really needed. So, but designed with the book, this all fits into Dice Throne Adventures. There are no new tokens to add, and if you have Dice Throne Adventures, you obviously know it has a very good token system. We have all our modular inserts, which work out really well. Nice, quick, easy organization. So, I am guessing that the mini raids now are going to go in here with the one-shot loot table. And of course, we have our bosses. There should be enough space for this to all fit in nicely. And yeah, that actually works out fairly decent. Doesn't stick up, doesn't stay out. I did forget that the standees for the characters from the Outcasts go in the little standee holder. We obviously don't need any space in there. And then we have our giant card holder codex. And there might be a problem here because a lot of stuff has been sleeved. Everything has been sleeved. So that's going to be fun. As far as our spacing in the back here, that's our dungeon generator. Sadly, some of the foil stuff from is pringling, because that's just what happens with foils. I'm pretty happy with The Outcasts, I'm a big fan of Dice Throne. I don't like RNG or luck, but I mainly got it because I wanted to do these little one-shot adventures and have a game not last like 3 months. As far as are the characters worth it, that's for you to decide. I mean, they're all pretty gimmicky. They're more gimmicky than the regular Dice Throne characters. They're kind of a hybrid. I do think that the Necromancer is fun. He just plays weird. The Raveness, I think, is pretty interesting. The Pale Lady, it's just kind of swing with the power system, but she can be good. The Headless Horseman's the only one I have a problem with. Other than that, still doing the 2025 giveaway. It's going to be the 2026 soon, so I'll update that stuff. But if you enter it, and if I can get to 250 subscribers, we're going to do the giveaway before the end of the year. Well, that's my goal. Other than that, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and GG's.